Support for WAMU comes from the Alliance of Community Health Plans, in appreciation for WAMU's commitment to create a more informed public. We are the Alliance of Community Health Plans, and we are proud to stand with our nonprofit members in transforming healthcare.
This is WAMU 88.5's Morning Edition. I'm Esther Chamakili. Homeless encampments have been part of the district's landscape in recent years, and they've grown in number and size since the pandemic hit. Now, D.C. is looking to permanently close down 3 large encampments, but as WAMU's Martin Ostermuhl reports, city officials are aiming to get residents into housing first.
Mike has lived in a tent along the L Street underpass for almost a decade. And in all that time, he's gotten used to regular visits from city crews.
They used to come there every 2 weeks and do a cleanup. Whereas though you gotta move your tent, move everything out to the streets, right?
The 51-year-old, who asked that we not use his last name to protect his privacy, says some of the cleanups have felt like harassment, like the city just wanted the unhoused residents gone. And sometimes city officials did. Early last year, they shut down an encampment a block away, saying it was taking up too much sidewalk space. But when I spoke with Mike earlier this week, he was optimistic about the future, even though D.C. says it's going to close his encampment at the end of the month. There's something better coming, he tells me.
It's an apartment, it's a place to live. The wintertime coming up again. I've been through a lot of rough winters down here, blizzard and some more stuff.
Mike's encampment in Noma is one of 3 across the district that will be part of a new pilot program city officials have launched in recent weeks. Wayne Turnage is D.C.'s deputy mayor for Health and Human Services.
Given the pandemic, the real threat of public health hazards, we decided to identify the 3 largest encampment sites and develop a pilot program to see if we could be successful in housing folks and shutting the encampments down where there are health and safety issues.
Turnage says there's a carrot and a stick. Outreach teams will work with unhoused residents at the 3 encampments, offering them priority access to housing and services like drug counseling and mental health support. If they refuse the help, the city will eventually ask them to leave the encampments, and they won't be able to come back.
So they would have to relocate elsewhere if they reject the city's offer of housing.
But some lawmakers and homeless advocates are wary of the city's plans. They say it's a win whenever anyone gets housed, but they have questions about how the 3 sites were picked and how much outreach will be done before the sites are closed. Brianne Nadeau represents Ward 1 on the D.C. Council.
For someone who's been experiencing homelessness for a long time, they may not be inclined to take the first offer of housing that they're given. They might not trust the government. They might feel a connection to the place they've been living outside. Saying we're going to evict everybody by a certain date and they can't come back is difficult and can be traumatic for the people who are there.
Mike, who lives in the Noma encampment, understands this. Even though he believes he will get a voucher from the city to get an apartment, he knows people who think the offer is just a ruse to displace them. Jesse Rabinowitz is with Miriam's Kitchen, a homeless services organization. He raises another issue, that the city's program will let a small number of people jump a very long line for housing.
I don't think it is fair to people who have been living in shelters and waiting for their housing vouchers to manifest to be told that, sorry, people living in these encampments are going to get housed before you.
And other advocates are concerned that the encampments will eventually be shut down altogether, which they say could criminalize homelessness just as the city is starting evictions for the first time since the pandemic started. City officials say they have been doing as much as possible in recent years to get people experiencing homelessness into housing, and say that the number of homeless families has dropped because of it. They say they've worked to get unhoused residents into hotels at the start of the pandemic. Deputy Mayor Wayne Turnage thinks more can still be done, especially to avoid the much larger problem of encampments seen in cities like San Francisco and Seattle.
It would be foolhardy for us to see this proliferation of tents across the city and then close our eyes as if nothing were happening. Because if you do that and you wake up one day and you have an even larger proliferation.
Down at the Noma encampment, Mike isn't packing up just yet. But he did fill out an application for an efficiency apartment this week, and he thinks something will work out soon. For WAMU, I'm Martin Ostermuhl.